I finally got it to work. OMG. Okay. It took me a minute to figure it out. I'm not going to lie. All right. Cool. This is the first time I'm going live on my laptop. I finally got me a laptop yesterday, so I won't have to do all the videos on my phone. I am going to pull up some. This is just a test run. I'm actually borrowing somebody's mobile Wi-Fi to test this out. I just wanted to see how well it was going to work before I commit to paying for a Wi-Fi service or internet in general. So we're doing a test run today. Grand Rising. Happy Wednesday. I pray everybody's having a positive, productive start to your day today. If not, I pray that your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and of course, the Most High help you with that today. I also pray that He clothes us in His armor from head to toe, that He strengthens our discernment and guides our steps as we go through this day. I'm going to put some hand pan on in the background. This is not a time that I have tried yet. It is 8:31 a.m. Today is June 18th, 2025. Soft Soul, 777 hertz. That's a new one that we haven't played before. Anyways, we'll see how it goes. It definitely gives a broader view. You know, you can see my shoe rack and everything in the background, which is a lot different than using the phone. But nonetheless, this is just a test run. I repeat, this is just a test. All right. Anyways, we're going to jump right into it today. I'm glad that I was able to get it to work. It's very different setting up a live on an actual computer versus setting it up on your phone or doing it on your phone. Now I see why there's a lot of things that I wasn't able to do on my phone that I am able to do on a regular computer. That being said, I went to the main page and updated the links in the description box. So now you have a direct link to my Cash App. You have a direct link to my Facebook page. And I'm pretty sure I shared the link to my other YouTube page. So yay, making improvements, making updates, so on and so forth. My table is set up a little different this morning because I had to make room for the computer. So it may take me a minute to just adjust to that. But nonetheless, we're here and we're trying it out. I hope on your end it doesn't seem dark. It is, but that might just be because I don't have the brightness turned up on my computer. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that real quick. Oh, there we go. All right. I can see. Let there be light. All right. So an exciting, productive morning so far on my end. I hope you are having the same. I know it's still kind of early, but nonetheless, I woke up very early this morning and was excited to try the laptop. I just got it yesterday, so I'm still learning everything about it. I don't know. I think it's been like 3 years since I even owned a computer. So I'm learning all the new things that are available on this one that I'm not used to. But anyways, we're going to get into it with our morning mantra. Then we'll get our grief affirmation. And then we'll get into the rest of the affirmations. I really like this setup, though. I like being able to see the chat is displayed bigger at 4:44 on the timer as I looked. It's nice. It's different, but it's nice. Of course, you know, there's probably a lot of things that I'll learn as I go. like being able to schedule the live to where you guys get notifications about when the lives are coming on. That's a nice feature that hopefully I'll be able to take advantage of. All right. When in doubt, give people the benefit. Everyone else is trying their best. We just got that the other day. Let's see if I can make use of this to hold stuff. I will for now, at least for that one. All right. So giving people the benefit of the doubt, not being so judgmental, being understanding and sympathetic of people and what they're going through. We never know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know what people are dealing with in their own lives. And the best way to give people of the benefit of the doubt is just to walk in love, act out of love. Sometimes that's all people need is a little bit of love, a little bit of sympathy to make their days better. All right, we'll get a grief affirmation. That being said, I did watch a video this morning while I was getting ready. And, I mentioned it the other day about me having a headache. And it's still kind of there, but not as strong as it was. But the guy was talking about how there's been a lot of solar flares happening here recently, which I wasn't really aware of. So that could very much be a contributing factor to my headache. And if you're dealing with, just your energy being off, having a headache, feeling fatigue, just not feeling good, that may be part of the reason. All right, grief affirmation. I do not need to be any certain way for people to love and support me. No, we don't. Be and embrace your true, authentic self, and the people that are meant to be in your life will be in your life because they truly respect and love you, not because you're meeting some kind of expectation they may have of you. That's important for us all to remember. Especially if you have a people pleaser personality, it's important to remember that it's not up to us to make other people happy. It's up to us to make ourselves happy. All right, now we'll get our chakra wisdom affirmation. Yesterday, we actually got 3. We don't normally take that many of the chakra affirmations, but it's what came out yesterday, so that's what we went with. We had the warrior, expressing my feelings, and one with all. Solar plexus, throat chakra, and crown chakra. So we'll see what we get today. And actually, it's something that I had quit doing, but I really need to start doing again. While I'm shuffling these, I'm going to say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, Ashe. That's something that I used to do with every video, and for whatever reason, I had quit doing it, but I need to get back in the habit of doing that again. Confirmation. Thank you, Spirit. All right. 7th chakra, crown chakra, meditation and silence. Oh, look at that. Okay, I like that already. You can see the whole card now. Nice. All right. We're going to get our incense lit, which is frankincense. I think that's actually the same one we used yesterday. I love frankincense. Frankincense is actually a resin. I have some of that as well. The incense are just easier to use. All right, meditation and silence. We talked about meditation yesterday. I sit still in meditation regularly, as I know there is power in silence. I seek out stillness during my day or during some part of every day. Let me put this up before I try to read anymore. All right. In the silence, I am open to receive without asking and without expectation. In the silence, I will hear and seek the truth. Rest, tranquility, and peace are rejuvenating to my spirit. Miraculous emotional, mental, and physical healings are available when I am open to receive. Let's see if I can hold that up there. Wonderful. I like that already. Now you don't have to go to the shorts section to be able to take a screenshot and see what those say. And I have to get used to the positioning, but I love that already. That's nice. Okay. Now we'll get our wild offering affirmation. Yesterday we had change, true love, and very similar energy that I watched this morning about embracing the change, embracing your independence, knowing that the ultimate true love is self-love, self-understanding, self-forgiveness. When we learn how to give that to ourselves, it's easier for us to be able to give that to other people. So if that's something that, doesn't necessarily come easy to you, it's important to work on that. Meditating could help you with that. Meditating, just embracing the silence could help you see or understand different things that you need to work on internally that will help you do that. Giving yourself the benefit of the doubt, going back to our morning mantra, giving other people the benefit of the doubt. Not being so judgmental of ourselves or of others. No need to be any certain way for people to love and support me. That includes ourselves. Being aware of expectations. It's not necessarily wrong to have expectations, but don't set them in stone. Be willing to look at that. Change came right back out. That has been happening so much here lately. Like, I can't even ignore it. Direction on the bottom of the deck and ambition on the top of the deck. So the change that needs to be made may include or involve taking a different direction, going in a different direction, embracing a different direction, and then having ambition while you do that. Believing in yourself. Wow. That is so crazy that came right back out. I guess I need to move this one so that I can see. Oh, crap. Sorry. This setup seems to be very nice. My bad. I knew I shouldn't have put that card there. Thank you, Grand Rising. Good morning. From Central Arizona. Hello. Hi. Sorry that I missed your comment. I should not have put that card in front of it. But yes, Jennifer, this is a nice setup. It's just a test run today because I don't actually have my own internet service yet. I borrowed somebody's travel Wi-Fi just to test it out before I invest my money into internet service. But yes, now I'm going to have to fix my background because you guys can see everything, which I'm working on that too. I've got to get rid of the couches, and I think I'm going to move my bookshelf over there. So anyways, it's a work in progress. All right, change. Yes, I do love being able for you guys, because when I do it with my phone, you can't see the whole card really, and it's backwards. So now you guys can see it to where you can screenshot it. I really like that. Change. Don't be scared with the next 40 steps. All you need is that one next action. You can say to love, just show me the first step and change me into the one who can take it. Love it, love it, love it. Change is in the air, apparently. All right, and then we got direction. Lord, please show me the right action right now. Please bring a sign and a miracle that gives clear direction. May I hear the promptings of my own body. And if for some reason I'm about to go the wrong way, please stop me. Beautiful. So don't be afraid to go in a new direction. We talked about it yesterday because the change card came out yesterday and then came right back out again today. Don't be afraid to go in a direction. Maybe do it cautiously. Be aware of the direction that you're going in before you just step out. But don't be afraid to do it with ambition. Have ambition for whatever new things that you're trying. May I offer all my deepest longings to love itself and invite the divine plan beyond the mind's imagining. Please use me for the highest good. Always, make sure that the change that you're making is for your highest good. Going back to the grief affirmation, I don't need to be any certain way for people to love and support me. The best thing you can do is be your true, authentic self. And the people that love and support you in that energy are the people that are meant to be there with you. And if they don't, that's okay. Let them keep walking. It's better to find out in the beginning than to alter who you are or how you present yourself to please somebody else. And then, you can only wear that mask for so long. Once you go back into your true authentic energy, they're going to leave. So save yourself some time, save them some time. Don't wear the mask. Just be honest with yourself and others about who you truly are, what your true intentions are. All right, now we'll pull an affirmation from the Affirmators deck. Self-help without all the self-helpiness. Yesterday, we got trust, get centered, and no need to do. Trust was a repeat yesterday. We had it day before yesterday. I put it back in the deck, shuffled, and it still came back out. So trusting your ambition, trusting your intuition with whatever changes or direction you want to go. Don't be scared to do that. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to put your all in the beginning. Just take baby steps. That way, if for some reason, it doesn't feel right, it's not working out, it's requiring something of you that's not your authentic self, then you can pull back and, you haven't lost a lot. So just be cautious. Work smarter, not harder. And kind of going back to what we've been talking about all week is, finding out where your ambition truly is. What makes you happy? What are things that you're interested in? Maybe what's something that you've always wanted to try and you never have? What's that one thing that, you try it for a little while and then you give up and then, it just keeps coming around and around. We talked about that the other day. If it keeps coming up, whether in your environment, in your thoughts, in your heart, whatever that is, if it keeps coming up, it's coming up for a reason. And just using my own situation as an example, I wouldn't be here with you today if I didn't do that. I questioned this path multiple times. A lot of it being because of the way I was raised, the people that I've always been around. This just wasn't, I don't want to say a normal thing. It's not a very highly accepted thing. But, we all have different skills. We all have different things that we may not even realize is a skill until we step out there and test it, no matter what it is. Maybe you've always had a desire to learn how to work on cars. I've always had that desire, but Maybe you're a woman that wants to learn how to work on cars. Well, that's a little bit more accepted now than it used to be. But going back to our grief affirmation, I do not need to be any certain way for people to love and support me. If that's something you want to learn how to do it. In my mind, you're a cool chick if you learn how to work on cars. We should, going back to the affirmations that we had yesterday, the independence, we should all embrace our independence, and we should all strive to be able to be independent in whatever way that is. It's, some of us are stronger in some areas than others. But don't scare yourself with the next 40 steps. Just take that one step at a time. Baby steps. Like we've said so much this week, smaller goals to accomplish a bigger goal. It doesn't have to happen all at once. I realize it's a rare chance that, yes, sometimes it does all happen at once. But in most situations, that is not the case. It's just going to be a little bit at a time. Little changes that point you in a certain direction that require you to have ambition. Ups and downs, vitality, and generosity. It hasn't been that long since we saw the vitality. Ups and downs, pretty sure this is the first time we're seeing that card. All right. It is, it's a frog, and it looks like maybe he's on a bungee cord. Very cute. See, this is wonderful. I already see that I like this more, because now you guys can do screenshots of all of these cards, and I don't have to, because I was seriously considering starting to take pictures of all of them and posting them in the shorts, because I want you guys to be able to, read and use these messages also. But this is much better. I like what you're doing. Keep up the... Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. The support is always appreciated, and the encouragement is definitely very welcomed. I hope you have a positive, productive day. Thank you for stopping by. All right, so ups and downs. Ooh, it was 22:33 on the timer. I see life as an incredible ride, and I'm lucky to be on it. Yes, the ups and downs make me want to puke sometimes. But they are also what make things fun and interesting. And when you look back, even puking on yourself makes for a good story. Love it. Yes. And I'm hearing that song in my head. It's Rare of Breed. It's called The Highs and Lows. If you've never heard that song, it's like a Rare of Breed. They're like contemporary Christian rap. He's actually going to be in my area in August. Let me pull that up. I don't know how to avoid the copyright thing, but I am going to learn how to do that. Rare of Breed, Highs and Lows. It's a really good song. Yeah, let me skip to it a little bit. It has like an... again. Another bad case of the highs and lows, yeah. Okay, wonderful song. If you've never heard it, go check it out. All right, we got vitality. I am healthy and vital and strong. My radiant love of life fills me with healthy, vital, and strong cells. Each cell is a warrior. Everyone has its own sword and shield. I dare you to try and penetrate my cellular army. Didn't think so, chump. These are supposed to be little cells. See, each one's got a sword and a shield and a helmet. armor of God. You know, you have a helmet, a shield, the boots, the sword of truth. There's 5 elements to the armor of God. Let's see, you have the helmet, the shield, the boots, the sword, oh, and the chest plate. Those are the 5 elements of the armor of God. All right, and then we have generosity. I give generously to those around me. No matter how much or how little I have, I know there is more than enough to go around, and that the key is to allow it to keep going around without stopping. If I stop the flow, I'm like the one person at the stadium who doesn't do the wave. So there's the picture. Being generous, not only with yourself, but with the people that you come in contact with. Knowing that there's all forms of generosity. It doesn't necessarily mean something material. We talk about it a lot on this channel. Really just being generous with your time. You know, something that I've really started doing here lately. I've made a connection with one of my neighbors, and he's a young guy, you know, that the only time he gets an actual home cooked meal is when he goes to visit his grandparents. When he's here, you know, everything basically gets cooked in an air fryer or a microwave. So anytime I cook a meal, I always have leftovers. So when I cook, I offer to share my meal with him. Now, I'm not saying that to get, you know, praise or, you know, a pat on the back. I do it because, first of all, you know, I've been in that place where I wasn't able to cook. And when people offer you a fresh cooked hot meal and it's been a long time since you've had one, dude, it really can make your day. I really am going to have to do something different with the background for this, aren't I? I'm going to have to get my tapestries put up so the background's not so bland. And I actually, it might be hard to do because I've got the black lights connected to it, but I think I might move that tapestry so you guys can actually see it. I don't know. Good vibes only. All right. Now, let me stop and take a drink of my coffee. There's nobody in here right now anyways. I hate it that I missed Jennifer. My bad. It's a completely different setup. This is my mushroom coffee. I've already had my cup of original coffee. I'm going to start doing my smoothie a little bit later in the day. Make it like, you know, when I start getting hungry. All right. Now we'll pull from the Namaste deck. Yesterday, we got Lengthen Your Day. It talked about meditation, very much lining up with the chakra card that we got for today, meditation and silence, embracing the silence, taking that opportunity to clear your mind, to clear your space, to clear your energy. I really do like this setup. I kind of hate it that you can see my mess in the background, which it's not really a mess, but the studio is a work in progress. Okay. I do have some purple lights that I'm going to get put up, and I guess I need to start looking into internet service because I can't borrow his Wi-Fi forever, but I figured he let me bring it home last night so that I could get everything set up on the laptop, you know, get all the programs downloaded and get all my accounts connected to it and what have you. So I figured, seeing as I had it, he works during the day, so he doesn't need it when he's at work. So I just figured I would use the opportunity to do a test run. I'm liking it so far. I hope you guys are too. Jennifer seems to be. I hated that I missed her. All right. Namaste. Stress less. Crack a routine. We'll see what else comes out, but that tried to flip over. It talks about like breaking free of your routine. Chew your food. Water your body also came out, but it didn't flip over. Eat with intention. All right. We'll go ahead and read both of them. We don't normally take two of these, but we'll go ahead and read both of them. They both seem to have pretty good messages. All right. The font is a little small on these cards, so I'm not going to try to read it while showing it to you, but there it is in case you want to do a screenshot of it. I'll have to go back and view this video later just to see how it looks from the other end, like what it looks like on a phone. All right, crack a routine. We all like established routes that are familiar and efficient. The problem is when we get caught up in the same cycle, we reduce our ability to bring new things into our lives that we can learn from. Crack a routine today. We did that already. It could be something as simple as how you make breakfast or get ready for work. If you want to take it up a notch, try talking to people whom you rarely engage with. See if you can cultivate a new relationship. Changing a routine can help bring new wonders into our lives and help us integrate new perspectives that allow us to learn and grow. We talk about that all the time. Looking at things from a different perspective. Also, very much lining up with the change, embracing the change. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid to go in a different direction, to change it up a little bit. We're doing that today. And I'm liking it so far. All right, chew your food. I'm just holding it up there for a minute just in case you want to take a picture of it. All right. And also, I forgot to show you the box. This is the deck that these are from. All of my decks come from Amazon. Eventually, I will work on, setting up the description box and getting links for all the decks. And that way, they'll be easier for you guys to find. Okay. Eat with intention. Savor the food in your mouth and chew it well. This not only aids in digestion, but it helps to ground you in the present. Focus on the texture of the food in your mouth. Is it sweet? Is it savory? Pretend you are a food critic. Enjoy the process of eating and break down the experience as much as possible. Intentionally chewing your food while eating will allow you to be more present. Being in the moment, any moment can reduce stress significantly. Just by doing this, you may be able to notice what kinds of food your body needs and is craving. That's kind of crazy that card came out because I was thinking about that when I was eating my dinner last night. I made some yellow rice with my dinner. And, rice is very easy to not really chew it, just to kind of mush it up a little bit and then swallow it. And I had that thought in my head, Ashley, chew it. Don't just swallow it, chew it. So very little signs and synchronicities like that if we really pay attention, we'll start to notice. So crack a routine, crack your routine, and chew your food. When we were kids, our moms used to tell us that all the time. Chew your food. Because a lot of times if we don't, we get a bellyache because it's hard. It makes it harder for our stomach to break the food down. All right, now we'll pull from the angel numbers and the celestial insights. Yesterday with the angel numbers, we got 8, 18, 22, and 222. And just like with the trust card from yesterday, the 22, the opportunities, is a repeat from the day before yesterday. And then we've already had a repeat card out here today with the change. So maybe if something keeps repeating itself, kind of going back to what we talked about already, if something keeps coming up, there's a reason why it keeps coming up. Don't ignore that. That's your body, that's your intuition telling you something. And that could be your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, the Most High, trying to get your attention. Maybe they've been doing it other ways and you haven't been listening. And so, they're going to knock on that door a little bit harder until they do get your attention. No matter what it's about. That's why it's so important for us just to pay attention and to be aware. All right. Angel numbers. That was quick. 938, keep going. 1177, growth. I dropped these, so I'm not going to keep them, but we'll at least acknowledge them. 3737, comfort zones, and number 8, abundance. A lot of times breaking out of our comfort zone can bring abundance. Going back to the cracker routine, I guess we're keeping them. 63 on the bottom of the deck, keep the faith. And 18 on the top of the deck, meant for success. We've already got plenty out here, so we're not going to take the top and the bottom. I don't normally take 4. We usually just take 3, but they came out, so we'll take them. Keep going, growth, comfort zones, and abundance. 938, keep going. We've been getting that energy a lot here lately. Perseverance, very much lining up with the ambition. Then 1177, growth, lining up with change. Then 3737, comfort zones. And then number 8, abundance, lining up with direction. All right, keep going. Perseverance, strength, guidance, resilience, success, and endurance. The angels are proud of your resilience and efforts. They are sending you strength and guiding you through challenges towards success and prosperity. In what areas of your life do you need to keep pushing forward? How can you remind yourself of your progress and stay motivated? Celebrate your small victories and progress. Take one step at a time towards your goals and remind yourself that you are supported and capable of overcoming obstacles. So don't get discouraged. Don't give up. Keep the faith. Acknowledge how far you've come. Acknowledge those small, we talk about it here a lot. Giving yourself credit when credit is due. I may run out of room. Let's move this phone out of the way. I may have to rearrange things here a little bit just to have enough room, but for the time being, we'll make it work. All right. And then we have growth, 1177. Learning, development, nature, potential, success, and expansion. Take positive steps towards learning and personal development. Engage in activities like taking classes, reading, or spending time in nature to unlock your potential and achieve success. What areas of your life could benefit from learning and growth? How can you incorporate new experiences or knowledge into your daily routine? Nice. Enroll in a course or workshop that interests you. Read a book on a topic you're passionate about, or spend time in nature to reconnect with your inner self and stimulate personal growth. We talk about that a lot on this channel. Spending time in nature. We already talked about that this morning as well. Expanding your knowledge, finding new things that you want to try, new topics that you want to learn about, and just embracing the change, embracing growth, desiring growth. If we're not changing, if we're not growing, if we're not learning, we're stagnant. And it's never a good thing to be stuck in the same energy all the time. All right. And then we have number 8, abundance. Let me turn this light down a little bit. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. Prosperity, opportunity, financial stability, emotional well-being, transformation. If you're struggling financially or emotionally due to changes in your life or relationships, your angels want you to know that these difficulties are temporary and also an opportunity for growth. We talked about that yesterday. How can I embrace the changes in life as opportunities to cultivate greater abundance? Multiple confirmations about the change out here. Today, focus on one positive step you can take to improve your financial or emotional well-being, trusting that abundance is on its way. Sometimes that change in direction can lead us to abundance, whether that's emotional abundance, spiritual abundance, material abundance. It's going to be different for everybody. We're all at different stages, but that doesn't mean that we don't need to embrace change. Change can come in all forms. Change of employment, confirmation. Change of employment, change in your living environment, change in your friendships, change in your thought patterns, change in your diet. Change can come in so many different forms. All right. And then 3737, comfort zones. Stagnation, safety, expansion, growth, risk, and breakthrough. Breaking out of those comfort zones. Going back to the namaste card, crack a routine. Break out of the routine. Do something a little bit different. Your comfort zone has become too familiar. It's time to step out and pursue what you truly desire, knowing that your angels are guiding and supporting you. Where in your life have you become too comfortable? How can you push yourself beyond your comfort zone? Take one small step today that feels slightly uncomfortable but exciting. Wow. Trust that growth happens when you move beyond the familiar. We already talked about that this morning. Embracing those opportunities to change. And it doesn't have to be a big, massive, life-altering change. It can be little subtle changes, like with me this morning. Instead of having my smoothie before I came on, I'm waiting until after to do my smoothie, because I noticed yesterday I'm getting hungry earlier in the day than I would like to. So if I wait until later in the day to have my smoothie, I'm going to get hungry later in the day because that smoothie is going to be with me till later in the day. Little small changes like that, but also, changes on the outside of you. The people you interact with, the activities you participate in, the places you go. Small little changes in those areas of our life can cause our ambition to strengthen, our abundance to increase. It can help us break out of those comfort zones. All right, now we're going to pull from the Celestial Insights. Yesterday, we got surrender, enlightenment, and patience. Patience is always important. Patience with yourself, patience with the spirit world, your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, the Most High. My nose won't quit itching. Patience with the people around you. Going back to our morning mantra, when in doubt, give people the benefit of the doubt. Everyone else is trying their best, so be patient with the people around you. Be patient if you're in the process of making changes. Be patient with that as well. Going back to what we talked about earlier, it takes time. Even though you've created a change, it may take time to truly see the changes that change has, the effect that change has on your life in whatever way. Going back to crack the routine, maybe you're a person that, takes an evening walk every day when you get home from work. Well, maybe you change from doing it in the evening to doing it in the morning before you go to work. Who knows? The people you might come in contact with because you're doing it at a completely different time of day. You could come in, especially early of a morning. Nature is up and active. You could come in contact with all different kinds of animals, and just the environment in general is completely different if you're walking at 6 o'clock in the morning versus 6 o'clock in the evening. It's going to be cooler in the morning, maybe even a little dewy, so that's just an example of, just one little change like that can have a huge effect on not only that specific area of your life, but other areas of your life as well. It can have a trickle down effect in a way. All right, Celestial Insights. We got awakening potential, reflection, honor on the bottom of the deck, and enlightenment on the top of the deck. So we're getting 4 celestial insights today, just like with the angel numbers. So maybe something significant about the number 4. Normally we just do 3. So, it'll make this a little bit longer, but that's okay. All right. Awakening potential. Let's see how easy it is for you to read these. Wonderful. I really am loving this bigger screen. Your inner potential is awakening and new opportunities are appearing. This is a time for growth and self-discovery. Be bold in exploring new areas, and your hidden strengths will reveal themselves. We talked about that already this morning. Embracing our strength, even if it's something that we don't see as a strength. Lining up with 3737 comfort zones. Pushing yourself out of your comfort zone can help you to see potential in yourself, in a certain situation, in a friendship, in a work environment. All right, and then we got reflection. Hold on. It is kind of backwards. I'll take some a while for me to get used to. All right, reflection. Reflection brings deep insight. Have you been avoiding self-reflection? Take time to sit with your thoughts and feelings. Your inner world holds the answers you seek. Lining up with keep going, angel number 938. Going back to the meditation energy with our crown chakra, meditate and silence. That's something that's been coming up a lot this week. You know, making time to do that self-reflection. Not only will that bring you a sense of peace, but it will also help you see the potential that you may be missing. You know, very often we get so distracted and caught up in just everyday life that we don't really take the time to stop and see where improvements can be made, where we can strengthen certain abilities or certain gifts that we may have. Also, you know, going back to the acknowledging the small goals that you've already accomplished. Very much lining up with growth as well. Angel number 1177. Learning, development, nature, potential, success, and expansion. Taking that time to reflect will help awaken the potential within yourself. It may help you see different changes that need to be made, areas of growth that you can focus on. All right, and then we have honor. Respect for yourself and others is key to your growth. Have you felt a lack of respect in some areas of your life? By setting clear boundaries and honoring yourself, the world will follow suit. Lining up with abundance, number 8. Going back to the grief affirmation and the morning mantra. I do not need to be any certain way for people to love and support me. 9:22 real time, my phone just lit up. And then our morning mantra, when in doubt, give people the benefit. Everyone else is trying their best. You know, so honor yourself by being your true, authentic self. You know, show respect for yourself by embracing who you truly are. And if you are encountering people or situations that you find disrespectful, don't be afraid to go in a different direction. Going back to our affirmations. You know, if you feel disrespected or mistreated, don't be afraid to walk away from whatever person, environment, situation that is. Honor yourself and love yourself by pulling away from that and embracing the opportunity to go in a different direction by making changes. Hold on. There we go. All right. Then we got enlightenment. All right. You are on the path to enlightenment, discovering higher truths. Have you noticed a recent shift in your awareness? Continue following this light. It will lead you to greater wisdom. Lining up with our angel number 3737, comfort zones. Stagnation, safety, expansion, growth, risk, and breakthrough. Taking time to reflect will awaken you to the potential that you hold and will lead you to enlightenment as to the changes that need to be made, the direction that you need to go in, and give you the inner strength and the ambition to pursue that. There we go. So, letting go of what feels for not necessarily, I don't want to say letting go, but don't hold on so tight to the things that feel familiar. Don't be afraid to take a chance on something new. Going back to what we talked about in the very beginning, I'm going to have to fix this chair. Eventually, I'm going to get me a new chair, but for this chair is very low to the ground. And I've just got a bunch of pillows trying to lift me up. And the pillows shift every so often. So eventually I will get me a computer chair, but this is my chair out of my room and it just sits really low to the ground. All right. Now we'll pull from the Angels of Abundance deck. So very much actually, let's get our educational moment for the day with a state card. And then we'll pull from the Angels of Abundance. And actually, while there's nobody in here, I don't normally smoke on camera, but I am going to hit a cigar a few times. I'm trying so hard. But it's like, it's one of those things that it's like the harder I try to not do it, the more my body wants me to do it. It's very much a change that I need to make. And I'm not afraid to admit that. Going back to kind of what we talked about yesterday, when you try to change too much at once, you get overwhelmed and you have a tendency to give up on those changes that you want to make. So don't be scared to make changes and don't give up. If, no matter how many times you fail, don't be afraid to get up and try again. All right. Educational moment. Let's see. I didn't pull what did we have yesterday? Yesterday we had Iowa, the corn state. Actually, the Hawkeye state. We'll see what we get today. They are, one of the facts that we learned was Iowa is one of the #1 producers of corn in the United States. That's why I called it the corn state. But technically, it's the Hawkeye state. All right. Tennessee landing on the top of the deck as we're getting started. That's my home state. All right. I'm done with that. Educational moment of the day. I mean, in reality, we get a lot of those through these different cards, but learning something about the outside world instead of about ourselves today. Every day with this deck. Geography is not my strong suit, so it helps me learn. Texas. Nice. Texas. And on this side, it shows us the flag. All right. The capital is Austin. The nickname is the Lone Star State. Texas gained its statehood, December 29th of 1845. The state bird is the mockingbird. The state flower is the bluebonnet. And the state motto is friendship. We've gotten this before. Quick facts. The Johnson Space Center is located in Houston. Davy Crockett and more than 180 other Americans were defeated at the Alamo in 1836. Their bravery encouraged other Texans to fight even harder for their independence from Mexico. The Texas Rangers are the oldest law enforcement agency in North America with statewide jurisdiction. Yeah, because when we got that last time, I talked about the movie Lonesome Dove with Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones. They actually play Texas Rangers in that movie. All right. Now we'll pull from the Angel of Abundance deck. This is what the box looks like. All right. Yesterday we got successful funding, clean energy food, and pay yourself first. Charity starts at home. You know, if you don't take care of yourself properly, you're not going to be able to share that nurturing energy with others properly. One more shuffle. I have a hair on me somewhere. I feel it. All right. Angels of Abundance. Detox your friendships. It hasn't been that long since we saw that. Visualize abundance in all forms, very much lining up with our angel number 8, abundance. Quiet retreat on the top of the deck. Hasn't been that long since we saw that either. You know, that could be the crack in the routine that some of us need to make. It's been a high topic of conversation this week. You know, getting that quiet time, allowing time to reflect, going back to our celestial insights, taking time to reflect so that you can awaken your own potential and be enlightened to the change you need to make, the direction you need to go, the ambition that may be required to make that change, stepping out of our comfort zone. All right, detox friendships. This has been coming out quite often. Going back to what we talked about yesterday, who are you entertaining? Who are you allowing in your energy? Who are you allowing to affect your life? Going back to our grief affirmation, I do not need to be any certain way for people to love and support me. Embrace your individuality. All right, your abundance flow is being affected by the people with whom you're spending time. So be discerning about your associations and relationships. Choose to be with people who are inspiring, generous, and supportive. Lining up with our angel number 1177, growth and reflection. So the people you're surrounding yourself with very much can affect your growth. It can very much affect how we view ourselves. All right. And then visualize abundance in all forms. Lining up with our angel number 8, abundance, and our celestial insights, honor. God gave you such great spiritual power that everything you visualize eventually becomes reality. Hold a steady vision of that which is beautiful, healthful, positive, and filled with blessings. And that is what you will experience. So honor what you desire. Honor your desire for growth. Honor your desire for abundance. Honor and respect the changes that need to be made, the direction that you need to go in order to receive that. Very much manifestation energy. Visualize abundance in all forms. Also, you know, remembering that abundance doesn't necessarily mean financial abundance, emotional abundance, spiritual abundance, abundance in the form of positive, uplifting friendships instead of negative friendships or negative relationships. Honor yourself by taking the time to reflect on the people and situations that you are entertaining. Are those people, places, situations holding you back from abundance? Or are they Are they encouraging and contributing to your abundance? Two very important ways to look at that. All right, and then quiet retreat. Spending time in nature, spending time by yourself, spending time with spirit, taking the time, making the time to have that quiet time to really reflect on people, places, things, situations. It's time to disconnect from the outer world so that you can discern and process your true thoughts and feelings from your inner world. Sorry, I said that wrong. It's time to disconnect from the outer world so that you can discern and process your true thoughts and feelings from your inner world. Create this quiet time for yourself, and you'll have more clarity about what to do next. What have we been saying? Making that time to really reflect. The more you do that, the more you will awaken your true desires. The more you may be able to observe people, places, and things that you need to disconnect from. Making that a priority. You know, a lot of us forget to do that. We get so caught up in what's going on around us that we really forget to take care of ourselves. And embracing that quiet time is a great form of self-love. Caring enough about not only yourself, but your journey. Going back to our affirmations, change, direction, and abundance. Embracing the change can point you in a different direction. I said abundance, but I meant ambition. It can help you find that ambition that you need to take that next step forward. All right, now we're going to pull from the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. Yesterday, we got passion, rejection, and complacency. Remembering that rejection is God's protection. Sometimes when we get a no, it may not be necessarily a no, just we need to change the direction, or it's going to come in a different way than we think. Sometimes it's not a no, it's just a not right now. You know, maybe changes need to be made before we can take that next step, or before we can go in a different direction. You know, maybe you have people in your life that can't go with you on that part of your journey. A lot of times when we're going to go in a new direction in our lives, we really do have to let go of people, places, and things that no longer serve us because they can't go with us wherever we're going. It's not easy, doesn't feel good, but it's for our own good. The ups and downs. Going back to our affirmations from the Affirmators deck, generosity, vitality, and ups and downs. This life is a roller coaster. You know, we have to embrace the ups and downs. Embracing the bitter and the sweet, knowing that it all serves a purpose. All right. Chakra Wisdom Oracle. Yeah. Impasse and gratitude came out. Acceptance on the bottom of the deck. Release on the top of the deck. Wow. All right. So you got gratitude, which is always a message. It comes out every day in some way, shape, or form. Very much lining up with the generosity. Impasse. Lining up with our angel number 938. Keep going. Gratitude is lining up with the, I'm trying to remember. Okay, yeah. Lining up with the reflection. Acceptance. Lining up with abundance. And release. Lining up with comfort zones. All right. Releasing people. We were just talking about it. Releasing people, places, and things that no longer serve us. All right. Impasse. It has not been that long since we got that. Learn to observe your emotions. The color orange, that's associated with sacral chakra. Reggie Rust. It has not been that long since we got this card. All right. 111:22 when I looked at the timer. Reggie Rust. This path is obstructed. Reroute. We did get direction. The legend. Reggie Rust is a guardian angel. One day, two friends, Clem and Craig, are dismayed to discover Reggie blocking their path through the mountains. With no way to get around him, wondering why Reggie wanted to stop them and not daring to try to pass, they take another route. Reggie then moves on, having protected Clem and Craig from a landslide ahead that would have claimed their lives. Inspiration. This is a reroute, not an ending. This path is blocked and you are at an impasse, but the goal is still there. Do not wait for your present situation to change. Stay focused and find another path. Personal inquiry. How adaptable am I? What does this card reveal about my feelings and my reaction to delays? Key ideas. Change of direction, regroup and refocus, protection from harm, and guardian angels. Keywords, wisdom, opportunity, and surrender. So kind of going back to what we were talking about at the very beginning of the video, those signs, synchronicities, messages, acknowledging that sometimes we have to break comfort zones. Sometimes we have to, especially going back to crack a routine, sometimes we have to make small little changes to allow for growth. Sometimes we have to go in a completely different direction. It was 1:13:33 on the timer when I looked. All right. I'm trying to line these cards up in a way that I still have plenty of room. All right. And then gratitude, lining up with the angel number 1177, growth, learning, development, nature, potential, success, and expansion. Gratitude is in the color purple, which in this book represents the sixth chakra, our third eye chakra. Lucy from Indigo. I am so glad you are in my life. The legend. Lucy's best friend writes a letter to Lucy's unborn child. She does this so that one day the child will understand how extraordinary her mother is. Lucy is a friend from Indigo, someone who always supports, never judges, always sees the good side, whatever the circumstances, and uplifts all those around her. In the letter, her gratitude for Lucy shines through. Inspiration. Gratitude raises our vibration to a higher level. If you are unhappy in any relationship, Lucy reminds you that it is always in your power to change it. There is no mystery to being a good person. Good people just do good things. Personal inquiry. Who is the person I admire most and why? How can I live at that level? Key ideas: friendship, deep love, pregnancy, nurturing, unconditional love towards self and others. Key words: appreciation, recognition, and esteem. Going back to our morning mantra, when in doubt, give people the benefit of the doubt. Releasing judgment, not only of ourselves, but of people. But also taking the time to reflect on the friendships that you have. Kind of going back to what we talked about yesterday with, you want people in your life that are on the same path. They're going the same direction. They have the same morals, and they look at life the same way. Embracing those friendships. I was just testing it to see how it looked with the light off, but I guess it's better with the light on. Embracing the friendships that come your way, where the people, they are on the same journey as you, but also being honest with yourself and truly reflecting on those relationships. Whether it's a friendship, a coworker, a family member, doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is, but taking the time to really reflect on those and the energy that they bring into your life, the impact that they have on the decisions you make, the direction you go, the way you feel. Going back to the affirmations of change, direction, and ambition, there's usually two different kinds of people. Either you have people in your life that are going to encourage you to make changes, to point you in a better direction, and they're going to lift up your spirits. They're going to give you that ambition that you need to keep going. And then you have the other people that they don't want you to better your life. They want you to stay stuck. They want you to go the wrong way for whatever reason. Some people that are like that don't even realize that they're like that. All right. Then we got acceptance. This is about the cherry pie. It has not been that long since we've gotten this card. Any of these cards, really. We've really been in this same similar energy for a couple weeks now. We have been in springtime, going into summertime, a time of growth. Everything's blooming. There may be flowers in your yard that you didn't even know that were there because we were, in wintertime, and so we didn't see them. But now that spring and summer is here, you may see different flowers than what you've seen in the past. All right, acceptance. That's represented by the color red, which is your root chakra. I don't know why I put that back and if you notice in this energy or in this card, the picture of spirit right there. So accepting the help from your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, whether that's the signs and synchronicities, whether that's intuitive messages that you're getting, whether that's, embracing the love that they gave us when they were here, maybe knowledge that they shared with us before they passed. That could possibly be something to reflect on. All right, acceptance. Cherry heart. When I accept myself, I find love. The legend. Cherry loves her work as a waitress, but feels that something is missing from her life. She has a boyfriend, yet she senses he is unfaithful. One day, a customer orders cherry pie. Cherry cuts a slice and sighs to a friend that her life is like that pie, with a slice missing. Her friend remarks that maybe Cherry is a heart-shaped pie. Cherry's perspective changes. She leaves her boyfriend and later meets a man who makes her happy. Very much lining up with the change and the detox your friendships. Inspiration. A magical box of self-acceptance appears before you. Your unique qualities reside within. Open it. Are things simple now? Cherry Heart invites you to see yourself as complete, just as you are. Personal inquiry. Am I assessing myself accurately, or am I distorting my reality in a self-defeating way? Can I simply accept myself? Key ideas. New ways of seeing yourself, embracing imperfection, feeling incomplete, and selling yourself short. Keywords: manifesting, knowledge, and luck. I did talk about manifestation, and it is in that same row. The visualize abundance in all forms. Honor, respect for yourself and others is key for your growth. Loving yourself just the way you are. Going back to our grief affirmation for the day as well. I do not need to be any certain way for people to love and support me. Loving yourself just the way you are. Knowing that there's always room for improvement. There's always an opportunity to make those small little changes that will help you feel better about yourself, that will help you grow and expand, whether that's physically, mentally, spiritually, materialistically. Knowing, going back to the self-love energy, knowing that the more we love 21, 22, 22 on the timer when I looked. Embracing the opportunities to show yourself love. A lot of times a way to do that is by, embracing change, making time for that quiet retreat so that you can receive enlightenment. So you can, going back to our affirmations, generosity, vitality, and ups and downs. Loving on yourself so you can strengthen your body inside and out. All right. And then we got release, which is gray, which represents the crown chakra in this deck. Shadow Gray Storm. I can no longer keep your secrets. Uh-oh. I think this is the first time we've gotten this card. She's in a cemetery. It's raining. But if you look in the background back here, the sun is trying to poke through. See those beams of light? It's trying to break through the rain. I can't stand the rain against my window. Who is that? Missy Elliott. Okay. I can no longer keep your secrets. The legend. Nikita cuts through the graveyard as she rushes home in the wind and rain. She is terrified when Shadow Gray Storm appears and speaks in her own voice, repeating painful things she has said to herself and others. Oh, it's all your fault. I'll never forgive any of you. As she listens in the rain to her own words, she learns it is she who has been making herself miserable. She leaves the graveyard with a changed heart, ready to forgive herself and others. The inspiration. This is about personal responsibility and release of blame. It is time to clear the debris and move on. You cannot move forward while you continue to hide. Personal inquiry. This indicates healing family of origin issues. Am I ready to face my past and let go? Key ideas: release, dwelling on the past, righteous anger, change in consciousness, judgment day, seeing clearly, hidden truth, and great discovery. Key words: healing, remission, and integration. Releasing the past, taking accountability for the role that we play in our own lives, no longer playing the blame game. We all go through that where, in certain situations, it's hard for us to take accountability. Forgiving ourselves for the roles that we've played. Doing that really it's lining up with the comfort zones angel number 3737, which breaks down to 1010, which is a number of completion. So completing the process, letting go of the blame, letting go of the guilt, letting go of the shame. Yes, accepting responsibility, but also not letting that throw you into a dark cycle. It said the thing about the shadow, doing the shadow, part of doing the shadow work is, releasing that blame, releasing that guilt, releasing that shame, really overcoming that. That's something that a lot of us struggle with. I know I struggled with it, and doing that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody else didn't play a role in whatever said situation. But, is pointing the finger going to change anything? No. Is it going to change your situation? No. Is it going to change how you feel about it? No. So the best thing to do is acknowledge it, reflect on it if you need to, accept things how they are, and then release it. And the potential that comes into your life when you can release that is endless. It's going to create a ripple effect of change, not only emotionally, but mentally, physically, spiritually, for sure. And it's going to allow room for growth. Going back to our angel number 1177, growth, learning, development, nature, potential, success, expansion. Take positive steps towards learning and personal development. Engage in activities like taking classes, reading, or spending time in nature to unlock your potential and achieve success. We can't do that if we stay stuck in the past. If we're constantly replaying those events over and over and over again, the woulda, shoulda, couldas, the how could you, I trusted you, I loved you, blah, 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 blah. Detoxing your friendships. If you are still surrounding yourself with people that have had a negative effect in your life, and maybe those situations are situations that are keeping you in that repetitive cycle, you may need to walk away from them. You may need to stand up for and do what's best for you. And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, when we're on that healing journey, one of the important parts of that journey is walking away from people, places, and things that no longer serve us, which just means walking away from people, places, and situations that have a negative impact on us in whatever way that is. whether it's a negative impact in our physical life, whether it's a negative impact on our healing journey, you know, accepting they have that negative impact. A lot of growth. It requires a lot of responsibility, and can require a lot of reflection, you know, making a choice to change the way you view not only yourself, but the way you value yourself. Going back to the honor, respect for yourself and others is key for your growth. Have you felt a lack of respect in some areas of your life? By setting clear boundaries and honoring yourself, the world will follow suit. You know, a lot of times, especially with family, you know, when we set those boundaries, people get upset. And it's one of those things where you really have to choose. Are you going to respect and honor yourself? Or are you going to respect and honor somebody that doesn't show you the same respect? Very important choices to be made for sure. All right. Now we'll pull from the Animal Allies deck. Actually, no, we'll go with the Wandering Oracle first. Wandering Heart Oracle. Yesterday, we got Reclaim Your Power, Boundaries, and Kin, talking about community. Community was a strong energy yesterday. You know, very much connecting with the Detox Your Friendships. You know, what community are you participating in? What community do you want to be a part of? Are you willing to make changes and embrace growth in order to find a new community? To find people that do honor and respect you? All right, I am going to have to move some of these cards. It's getting to be too much. I almost knocked that over. Hold on. I really am good. It was 1:32:32 when I looked at the timer. I'll figure it out eventually. Like I said, this is really just a test run, which I've already decided. I really like having the laptop better. I like the view better. I like just the way it allows me to set everything up. But I'm just going to have to make some more, set up the desk differently to make room for the laptop. All right. Releasing people, places, and things that no longer serve us isn't always easy, but in a lot of cases, it's very necessary. All right. Wandering Heart Oracle. I don't know why my desk is wobbly like that. I might have thrown it off kilter this morning when I was hooking up the laptop. All right. It is 10:04 real time, 1:34:24 on the timer. Central Arkansas. I don't know why I was drawn to look at that message again. Or not Arkansas, Arizona. Arizona. Have I ever been to Arizona? I don't think so. Whoa. We are definitely not going to take those. It's way too many. But Ken did come back out, which was one of the cards from yesterday. All right. Forgiveness. What were we just talking about? Forgiveness. Number 26. She's in prayer in that picture. She's at an altar. There's flowers. And I don't know if that's a mirror or a picture, but there's a face there. So, ancestor energy. Number 26, which breaks down to an 8. We did get 8 in our angel numbers, abundance. Then we got bear fruit on the bottom of the deck. You will know them by the fruit they bear. That comes from scripture. With condition. Shut up. This was on the bottom of the deck yesterday, the Adam and Eve energy. She's naked, so I kind of have to cover her up. But hold on. What am I? There we go. We saw that card yesterday, and it was still on the bottom of the deck when we got started, and it came out. All right, so 33, 26, and 40. Forgiveness, bear fruit, and with condition. Wow, that's amazing that came out. All right, we'll start with forgiveness, 26. Get free. Wellness and remorse. Here you crave emotional stability. You dig deep enough to uproot disappointment from the past. Wow. You let out the unexposed madness you've been shoving to the back of your mind, and you face the healing of it head on. For the first time, you treasure the unfortunate truth and greet your skeletons with warmth. You grasp the difference between forgiveness and acceptance. On one end, you're trying to fix someone or something, and on the other end, you're learning to have mercy. You are preparing to relieve a burden a burden that's been heavy on your heart, mind, and spirit. You understand the law of attraction. The longer you harp on dishonor, the longer your life is at a standstill. You're inspired to move on. If apologies are owed, it's best to give in. If something burdensome is weighing on your spirit, do what you have to do to make things right. Drown out the noise of your ego. Wow. Lining up with the change and gratitude from our affirmations. Copper, quit. Wow. Forgiveness, self-forgiveness, forgiveness for not knowing any better. All right, bear fruit, number 40. Relish in the sweetness of life, labor and homage. The fruit of your labor offers forgiveness. Wow, look at that confirmation. The fruit of your labor invites luck. The fruit of your labor provides joy. The fruit of your labor brings pleasure. When your concentration is directed towards one specific thing, chances are you will reap what's fitting. You will pull in favor where you rest your heart. Wow. Your many nights of prayer, worry, and faith are finally paying off. You have worked hard for everything you receive. You are a dear friend and an honest companion. The foundations of your relationships are solid. You are optimistic at the core. You are too jovial, Jovial, to second guess this moment. The law of attraction proves your spirit is made of gold. Do not forget to give thanks to the Most High, your tribe, to the land, to your dead people, your lost loved ones, to nature, to your body, to all the things that have contributed to your long-term welfare. Going back to the gratitude, be grateful for how far you've come. Be grateful for the opportunity. Every day that we wake up is an opportunity to be better, to do better, to look at things from a different perspective, to embrace the change, to embrace forgiveness. You will know them by the fruit they bear. Being grateful for the people that come into your life that encourage you, that lift you up, that share their love and their energy with you. Let's go back to that again. Don't forget to give thanks to the Most High, to your tribe, to the land, to your lost loved ones, to nature, to your body, to all the things that have contributed to your long-term welfare. So just showing gratitude for everything, the big, the small, and the blessings yet to come. Wow. And how interesting is it that the card that came before that was the forgiveness card. And in the first sentence, the fruit of your labor offers forgiveness. So the more changes that we make, the more we embrace those changes, the more, where's it at? The more we honor ourselves, the journey, the people that have been a part of it, the stronger and the easier our forgiveness becomes. That's wonderful. And the fact that this card came out, we looked at this card yesterday. I'm still learning how to, it's like backwards. I'll figure it out. I will. I'm going the wrong way. I'll figure it out. All right. Without condition. That's Eve with the serpent, the apple in her hand. I talked about it yesterday. She hasn't bitten the apple yet. She has a choice to make. We all have a choice to make, and I'm not going to hold this card up because she is naked in that card. All right, number 33, with condition. I'm interested to see what the full description of this is. All right. You hold love in your heart regardless of the situation's status or limitations. This adds to the list of reasons why you are so special. With condition, temporary, and confinement. Hold on. Here you are conflicted. Feelings of joy are limited. There's no say as to what's real or what's a brief distraction. You yearn for a reason to be soft with a lover. You want to unfold your arms and rest your mind, but you're having trouble feeling safe. You doubt you're being seen for who you truly are on the inside. In some ways, you are misunderstood. Guards are high. You protect your space and wait for a sign or guidance. You feel on edge and restricted. You don't know if it's the right time to invest your heart. You cannot assess the situation you are in properly. You are asleep to the infinite possibilities in which you can soar from sharing yourself. Whether you should be disappointed or not, you will still gain an improvement on your perspective. You want to love, but you don't know how. You will never know until you try. What did we talk about this morning? If you're unsure, going back to our original affirmations, change, direction, and ambition. If you're unsure, just take those little steps. Forgive yourself for mistakes that you've made in the past. Forgive yourself for maybe giving your time, energy, and effort to people that weren't on that same trajectory as you were. Knowing that the journey is all about ups and downs. Also, going back to the reflection, the awakening potential, enlightenment, the meditation and silence, cracking a routine, do something different, no matter what that is, whether it's opening up to a new person, whether it's welcoming in a challenge, whether it's taking that time, going back to the quiet retreat from our angels of abundance, whether you're taking the time to reflect, really going back to all of these, quiet retreat, detox your friendships, and visualize abundance in all forms. Taking the time to really reflect and really think about what changes need to be made. What direction do you want to go? And going back to what we said when we talked about it before, you don't have to jump all in. You don't have to put 100% into whatever it is, a person, place, situation, maybe even a location change. Test it first. Test the waters just a little bit to make sure that that's really what you want. Because sometimes, we can sit and think about it all day long, but until we really try, we're not going to know if that's something that we really want to do. It's kind of like, like when you meet a new person. For me, I'm going to use me as an example. And this is going to sound really awful, but it's just me being open and honest. I'm not going to be able to know if we can be friends or not until I eat a meal with you. If you can't chew your food with your mouth closed, I can't eat with you. And if we can't sit down and have a meal together, I mean, how good friends are we going to be? You know what I'm saying? So that's just a little example. I watched a video not too long ago where the guy was talking, or the woman was talking to, I can't remember who was giving the video, but they were saying that, when you really want to get to know somebody, the best way to do that is to go on a road trip with somebody. And it doesn't have to, they specifically said, like, not a multiple days road trip, but, go somewhere with somebody where you're going to have to be in the car for a couple hours. You're going to find out what kind of music they listen to. You're going to find out whether they, have road rage or they're an aggressive driver. You can really learn. They gave all kinds of different examples, but that's just, I don't know why that's the example that's popping up in my mind. But being aware of the friendships that you have, the people that you interact with, and releasing the ones that, there's really no sense in trying to keep it going, then on the other aspect of that, on the other end of that spectrum, taking time to really embrace the people that, like, hey, I've just met you, but we do share some things in common. I'd like to spend more time with you to find out if maybe we can take it up a notch, and not only in a casual friendship kind of way, but in a abundant kind of way. You know, I say it all the time. People come into our lives for a reason. We may be there to help them. They may be there to help us. It may be a dual helping to where I'm learning something from you, you're learning something from me, and we just click because we are on going in the same direction. Going back to what I talked about yesterday with the school of fish. You know, if you surround yourself with people that don't look at the world the same way you do, you're constantly going to be fighting against that current. You're never going to be on the same level with those people, and it's always going to be a fight, which makes it difficult. You know, when you're around somebody and you know that person doesn't embrace the same things you do about life, doesn't look at life the same way you do, it's what's the point? Like, unless that person is showing some kind of interest in a change of perspective, vice versa, you know, maybe that person can offer. Oh, I just pushed a button. I didn't mean to do that. I hope it didn't do anything. All right. Going back to our daily mantra, when in doubt, give people the benefit. I forget that you got now with me using the computer, you guys can see these in the right direction. Everyone else is trying their best. Copper, please stop. Thank you. You know, and actually it says in parentheses at the bottom, except maybe this person talking on speakerphone in public. I really kind of going back to the eating with your mouth closed. That's something that really bothers me. Like people that are in the gas station paying for their stuff and they're on the phone. It's like, dude, either hang up and call them back or tell them, hey, I'm in the store. Wait a minute. But, and you know, to me, that's very rude. Anyways, I could go off on a tangent on that. So we're just going to leave it at that. But, you know, really being aware of who's in your energy, who you're allowing to affect your decisions, vice versa. All right. Now we're going to pull from the Animal Allies deck. I really, now, like, I'm not going to be able to get internet service fast enough. Like, the only thing that's really throwing me off is how wide it is to where you guys can see everything back there. But it's all a work in progress. You know, I really haven't lived here very long. So, you know, I will rearrange things, especially after I get rid of the other couch. So, you know, I got rid of the one big one, but the other one's still in here. And once I get rid of that, it'll give me more room to make changes and improvements. All right. Yesterday, I almost didn't do it. Yesterday, we got swan, robin, and heron. And heron was another repeat. We got that day before yesterday, and then it came back out. That's been happening a lot with the repeats. Okay. Animal Allies, birds. I think it might have been because of the stormy weather last night. The birds were not near as active this morning as they have been so far this week. But we did get some pretty nasty weather that came through a couple times last night. You know, those little storms that they come through and, you know, the wind's blowing everywhere and leaves and everything's blowing everywhere. And then next thing you know, the sun's coming out, and it did that like 3 or 4 times yesterday. But it is that time of year, you know, it's hurricane season, tornado season, you know, the atmosphere is changing. Also, that's reminding me to say again, I said it at the beginning, but that's making me think of it again. I watched a video this morning and the guy was talking about there's been a lot of solar flares happening here lately. So if you're experiencing a lot of either headaches or fatigue or just an overall just not feeling good, that could be part of the reason why. I always get worried when I get headaches, which it's not funny, but it's because my mother died from brain cancer. And my whole life growing up, my mom always used to get really bad headaches and migraines. And when I found out that she had the brain cancer, you know, I couldn't help but think, you know, were those migraines and those headaches caused by something that maybe was connected to the cancer, and for whatever reason, they either never took the time to really find out what was causing them, or, whatever. So, going back to the vitality that we got for the affirmations, make your health important. Listen to your body. That was quick. And we got 3. Today makes the 3rd day in a row that Heron has come out. It was a repeat yesterday. Now it's a double repeat today. Kestrel, Kestrel, Kestrel. I'm not sure what kind of bird that is. Very colorful, though. It's even got a little crown on its head. Look at that. Don't forget to adjust your crown. Keep your head up. Don't look down. Don't let people bring you down. All right, and then we got peacock. I always love the peacock energy. I've been working on a peacock costume for years. All right. So we've seen 2 of those before. The kestrel, I'm going to have to look up how to say that because it's going to bother me if I'm not saying it right. So let's look up this bird real quick, and then we'll, just so that I can make sure that I'm saying it right. Rare of breed, highs and lows, if that's a song that you've never heard before. He's like contemporary Christian rap. Pronunciation.
Kestrel.
Yeah, I was saying it wrong. Kestrel. Okay.
Kestrel.
Kestrel. So the kestrel bird. That song came up earlier in the video. I really like, I don't listen to it a lot, but I do like a lot of his music. Okay. The kestrel is what came out first. And we've never gotten this one before, so I'm interested to see what it says. All right. Kestrel superpowers. Keen awareness, psychic ability, uplifting others, hovering above the din, patience, laser focus, sharing responsibilities, making careful choices. Wisdom, pausing to view the bigger picture before making any rash moves is wise. Sussing out existing currents and using them to help you along allows you to move forward and go easy at the same time. What was I just talking about the current? Didn't I just talk about that when I was talking about the school of fish? Pretty sure I just talked about that. All right. When this card appears, ask your inner voice what you need to know in this moment to choose the best path for yourself. Dig deep into potential pros and cons and trust your decisions. There's a current or flow waiting for you to hop on that'll carry you on your way. It will propel you forward while also allowing you to rest as needed. It's okay to let the elements do some work for you. So, very much going back to the very beginning of all of this. Confirmation. Are you okay? Taking the time to process, to think. I know just because I talked to you doesn't mean you have to come over here. Go on, go lay down. I don't want you over here gagging on me. Go on. Copper, is that really necessary? That's so gross. All right, going back to what we talked about already this morning, going back to the celestial insights, reflection, awakening potential, and enlightenment. Taking the time to think about the changes that you're going to make, the direction that you're going to go, and the ambition that's going to be required to do that. honoring yourself and loving yourself and respecting yourself enough to how I always call it practicing the pause. Taking that time to go into a quiet retreat and visualize abundance in all forms. Remembering that abundance doesn't necessarily mean money or financial things. It could be spiritual abundance, emotional abundance, even an abundance of knowledge. With knowledge is power. I say it here all the time, but also remember that with power comes responsibility. Going back to the impasse and the acceptance from our Chakra Wisdom Oracle, taking the time to accept the things that you cannot change, forgiving yourself for whatever has occurred that has led you to where you're at now, embracing the opportunity for change, embracing the chance to go in a different direction, but make sure it said something about doing the pros and cons. Make a list if you have to. For a lot of us, writing it down, seeing it and laid out in front of us, it can really help us on that process of analyzing, releasing people, places, and things that no longer serve you, that don't contribute or play a role in that new direction, in that change that needs to be made. Remembering that change isn't necessarily easy, but it's worth it as long as it's positive change. That's part of the process. Figuring out, is this going to be good for me or is this going to be bad for me? Kind of going back to what I talked about earlier. You don't necessarily have to jump in all at one time. Test it. Test the waters to see if that's something that you really want to commit to, whether that's a person, a job, a relationship, a friends group, whatever the case may be. Knowing and embracing the fact that change is always difficult. Going back to our angel number 3737 comfort zones. Most of the time when changes need to be made, it's going to require us to push ourselves out of that comfort zone. It's going to require us to crack the routine. And, we got the meditation and silence with our crown chakra affirmation. We got the quiet retreat. We got the reflection, the awakening, and the enlightenment, knowing that the more time you can give to embracing the quiet, to really rejecting any of the outside noise, even if it's only for a little while, it really will benefit us on multiple levels. And the fact that this Heron card came back out, I cannot believe that. That is 3 days in a row that same card has come out. Just saying. All right, Heron. Heron superpowers. Let me do it this way. Yeah, it's easier for me to keep it centered that way. Heron superpowers: elegance, patience, wisdom, self-reliance, ability to commune with the spirit world, evolution, surprising strength, renewal, and metamorphosis. Heron wisdom: being content in one's own life is a great gift. Contentment doesn't mean everything is perfect, of course, but rather that it's possible to feel satisfied with what already exists in your orbit. So, maybe looking at your current situation from a different perspective and seeing that you already have everything that you need, you just may not be embracing it, right? When Heron appears, examine what you think you need to be at peace and compare it to what you've already got. Is it possible you already have what you want and or need? Heron wants you to know you are enough. Of course, there's always room to dream new dreams and develop new skills, but simply being present is a rare and amazing place to be. Didn't we talk about that already this morning? knowing that being grateful of where we're at, but also embracing the opportunities for new things. They don't have to. I said this already this morning. It doesn't necessarily have to be a completely life altering change, but a lot of us, because we're so distracted by life in general, it's those little choices that we make that over time have an overwhelming effect on our lives. It's not always just one big choice. Sometimes it's a bunch of little choices that leads us in a direction that we don't even realize we're going. And then we get there and we're like, how the hell did I end up here? Because we don't take the time to really think, to really lay out the pros and cons. Like, how is allowing this one person to be part of my life going to affect my overall? We don't think about that. And it's important. We really should. We don't do it often enough. I'm guilty as charged. I'm preaching to my own choir by saying that. We all have different areas where, we need to give a little bit more time. We need to be a little bit more understanding. We need to have a little bit more ambition. We need to be a little bit more generous, whether that's with ourselves or with the people around us. Be a little bit more forgiving. We did get forgiveness. Forgiveness bear fruit and with condition. We're having gratitude for the people, places, and things that are in our lives, but also accepting that sometimes for our lives to bear the fruit that we want it to bear, we have to let go of people, places, and things that no longer serve us, right? Just because we're not on the same journey doesn't mean I don't love you, doesn't mean I don't care about you. It just means that I got to let you go. I got to love you from a distance. All right. Then we got Peacock. Okay. Peacock superpowers: resurrection, internal beauty, lightheartedness, laughter, gratitude, sensitivity, glamour, versatility, metamorphosis, and confidence. That's double confirmation on the metamorphosis energy, which is change. Peacock wisdom: what appears on the inside can be just as beautiful as what's on the outside, or vice versa. No matter how you look at it, everything has the potential for beauty. When Peacock appears, hold your head high and walk confidently. Wow, didn't I say that earlier? No matter the current circumstances, be on the lookout for clues to your past lives and how they connect to your current reality. Wow. Peacock wants you to know you are a wondrous creature, and it's totally okay to show off when you want to. Share your beautiful gifts and insights. That's so crazy that it talked about past lives. I wasn't going to share this, but I will now because it made me think of it. I've talked about it here a few times over a span of time that, if I dream on a regular basis, I don't very often remember my dreams. But usually when I do, they're very vivid. Like I wake up emotional from those dreams. Well, this morning, I had one of those dreams. I woke up crying this morning. And it's something that I need to get better about as far as writing my dreams down. But in the dream, there was a car wreck. I was in the car. I don't know if I was driving or if I was just in the car, but there was a wreck. And I don't think I was driving. I think I was the passenger. And we got out of the car, and I don't know how we got another vehicle, whether the person I was with stole somebody's vehicle, but the car that we were in was a small white, like sedan type car. And we ended up in an SUV. And then somehow, like I said, I didn't write it down. And when I dream like that, the longer I'm awake, the more I forget. But somehow we ended up in a bank. And I guess I knew this person that worked in the bank somehow. And I was asking her to help me. And she wouldn't help me because she said something about 12 babies. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, like in the dream, what? I have one kid and I've never been pregnant other than my son. You know, I haven't had miscarriages or stillbirths or anything like that. So I'm not necessarily sure that I'm not really sure what perspective that was coming from. That may have been like a past life experience, or I may have just been seeing something that somebody else was going through. But like I was in that building. I'm pretty sure it was a bank, but I just broke down and started crying right there because I couldn't understand why she wouldn't help me. 2:11:11 on the timer when I looked. So I kind of wish now that I would have wrote it down so that I could remember more. But when I was there crying, that's when I woke up. Like I woke myself up crying. I was kind of in a distraught, kind of like discombobulated kind of energy. But there was a car wreck. It was a white sedan. We ended up in an SUV. I think the guy that I was with stole somebody else's car. And maybe that's why the woman wouldn't help me, is because like she knew that a crime had been committed. I don't know. I kind of wish that I would have wrote it down now, but nonetheless, because it talked about the dreams, I felt obligated to share that. But either way, looking at the pros and cons, making a list, you know, acknowledging where changes need to be made, you know, being grateful for the experiences that we've had, that we've learned from, you know, remembering to learn from the experiences that we have, whether it, when you look at it, you know, whether you look at it from a negative or a positive aspect, going back to the forgiveness and the with condition, you know, sometimes we have to accept the fact that, you know, not everybody is there for our highest good, but seeing that as an opportunity to learn, whether it's learning something about ourselves, learning something about the people, places, and situations that we surround ourselves or put ourselves in, you know, there's always something to be learned. Even if the outcome seems negative, you know, maybe you can learn something from that situation to where you don't end up back in a similar situation. You know, I say it here a lot. A lot of times when you have a scenario, a situation like that, it keeps repeating just with different people. It's because there's something that we're meant to learn from that. And I speak from experience. I've done it. You know, it's not necessarily an easy lesson to learn, but it's a very important lesson to learn. When something keeps repeating, there's a reason why, because it's something that we're missing, whether it's with other people, about ourselves, about situations, you know, family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, jobs, you know, living situations, whatever. It's going to be different for everybody. All right. I know I feel like I got off on kind of a tangent there. Now we're going to pull from the Archangel Fire Oracle. Yesterday, we saw two of them, which is not normal. We got 4 and 5. There we go. We got Cassio, and then we got Xandophon, which were numbers 4 and 5. Consecutive numbers. if numerology isn't something that you know a lot about, isn't something that you really pay attention to, that could be one of the signs and synchronicities that you're getting from the universe that you're just not aware of. So, making it to a point to be more aware of that. It could be everything from time on a clock, uh, numbers of pages and books that you're reading, numbers on license tags of cars that you're passing. Um, I mean, fill in the blank. Totals on a purchase that you're making, the change. Like you can look at that, used to happen to me a lot when I would go to the store and buy something. Like my total price may not have been a number, but my change was, we'll say $1.44, 144. That's an angel number. Or, there have been times where like my total would be 1 or 1111, which it doesn't happen often when I'm making purchases because of course I don't really shop very much anymore. But that used to happen to me a lot. But anywhere that, numbers can occur, maybe you're checking your blood pressure, whatever the case may be, being aware of number synchronicities in general. A lot of people don't have knowledge of numerology. So going back to what I said earlier, knowledge is power. The more you know, the stronger you become. He's being weird today. I wish you could see how he's sprawled out on the couch right now. He's literally like got his head all stretched back. Oh, now he knows what I'm talking about. Got his arms all stretched out and everything. He doesn't lay like that very often. Okay. Sorry. Distraction. Squirrel. Dog. All right. Angel of Fire Oracle. We got 2 again today. What is up with that? A nutshell on the bottom of the deck. He's like the caveman energy. Sophia on the top of the deck. I love her energy, like Mother Earth, protector, lover, nurturer energy. Sheknia, crone energy. And Sariel, he's like the leader of the pack. Ugh. These have such long messages. I don't really want to read both of them, but I'm gonna. All right. And he is number 1, leader of the pack. That song came up the other day in one of my videos. I don't remember what day that was, but it did come out. All right. He is of the Black Ray. Chakra is the galactic core. Healing qualities, neutralizing negative energies, harmonization, protection, overcoming fears, manifestation. We do already have manifestation energy out here. Comfort, nurturing, and the shadow. We also spoke about the shadow. Not running from it, but embracing it, understanding it. Crystal associations, obsidian, black tourmaline, black diamond, essential oil, black pepper, the star constellation, the black hole. Dark night of the soul is his basic message. Often described as one of the fallen angels and the brother of Lucifer, quote, the light bearer, Sariel is an archangel who can help uncover the hidden blessing within darkness. If you are encountering a dark night of the soul, Sariel brings comfort, helping you to offer yourself loving kindness in the depths of your despair. He is a potent ally to call upon when you have nowhere else to turn. He helps us to uncover the triumph within our loss. What was I just talking about? Even if it's a negative situation, there's always something to embrace and to learn from it. Everything is a learning experience. Like the image of him as an African Dogon, Dogon, priest emerging from the darkness in this card. He lights the path to redemption, reigniting hopefulness. When you have met Suriel and understand enlightenment is not only about the light, but the balancing of polarities, the light and the dark, yin yang energy. You will have met the innermost sanctum of your duality and come into the eye of the storm. If you can master peace within your pain, you have mastered your emotions and can find yourself at home within any situation. His general message: although you may feel like you have abandoned hope, abandon yourself not. You are being cracked open to reveal your depths. Treasure awaits you on the other side of this deep initiation. Going back to our affirmations, visualize abundance in all forms. Ambition, forgiveness, the ups and downs. We got that as well with the affirmators deck. And going back to our angel numbers, 938, keep going, 1177, growth, and 8, abundance. Push through that pain. Release the anger, resentment, self-doubt, release all that and know that everything is meant to be a learning experience. I know, man, I say it often. We go through so many death and rebirth cycles in our life. It can be very difficult. The ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, death and rebirth, from light to dark, from dark to light, back and forth. It's a revolving door, you know. But release that pain and try to look at it from the different perspective of what can I learn from this? What was the purpose in the pain? It's usually to help us grow. Going back to the growth, 1177. Growing pains. Have you ever heard that saying? You know, it's not always easy to grow. It doesn't always feel good, especially going back to the angel number 3737. If it requires pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. I speak from experience. I don't talk about anything that I don't know about. I will tell you that I don't know about it if I don't. But less than a year ago, I pushed myself so far out of my comfort zone that I ended up in a different county. I don't know anybody here. I don't know anything about this area. And that's just giving you an example from my own personal life. That's not the only way it can apply. But, you know, it opened my eyes to a lot of negative and positive things, not only about this world, but about the journey that we all have to take. And sometimes the best thing we can do is just completely wipe the slate clean and start over. You know, release, going back to our chakra wisdom oracle, release those negative thought patterns, release that, you know, shame, guilt, regret, you know, lack of self-confidence. Release those energies. Love, make it a point to love yourself better. Forgive yourself for making wrong choices. Forgive yourself for trusting the wrong people. Forgive those people for screwing you over, for burning you, for hurting you. Because when we carry that resentment, it just holds us back. It doesn't hurt them. What's that old example that they give, that holding on to resentment is like you drinking the poison and expecting the other person to die? You know, it hurts us more than it hurts them. All you can do, going back to everything that we've said really here today, the vitality, the ups and downs, but really the honor from the celestial insights. Respect for yourself and others is key. Have you felt lack of respect in some areas of your life? By setting clear boundaries and honoring yourself, the world will follow suit. Take the time to set those boundaries. Or maybe you've already done that and they just keep on disrespecting. They keep on pushing. They keep on poking the bear. And, that's very much a narcissistic energy. Not saying that everybody that does that is a narcissist, but like if you consider yourself my or family that cares anything about me, and I tell you that something that you're doing hurts me or affects me in a negative way, whatever that is, and you continue to do it, then you don't care enough. You don't love me enough to respect me, to honor my boundaries, to honor the fact that I love myself enough to not let you continue to disrespect me. Maybe in some cases, they don't see it as disrespect. But going back to our grief affirmation, I don't need to be any certain way for people to love and support me. If you don't love and support me for who I am and what I am, and you don't support the fact that I love Copper, do I need to let you outside? Why are you being so gaggy? You're going to gross me out. You're going to make me start gagging. What's up with that? Do you need to go outside? Let me let him outside real quick. If I can get up. I'll be so glad when I'm able. I can't move the chair if you're standing on it. Get down. Come on. Go out there and cough up that hairball. Lord help. Gross. Okay. No, Come on. Come on. Get out there. Go do what you got to do. Go hack it up. I'm tired of hearing you gag on it. Okay. I've totally got all my pillows out of place in my chair and everything, but whatever. I'll be glad when I'm able to get a new chair. This isn't really even my chair. It was just like the couches. It was left here by the people that moved out that lived here before I did. But now that I've gotten up and messed it up, I'm going to have to fix it. So hold on. Copper, I didn't hear you gag nothing up. I mean, I don't care for you to come back in, but don't keep on with the gagging stuff. And I'm not just going to leave the door open. If you're not going to go out there, I'm closing it. Okay. They're just like kids, really. Okay. Did you see my stack of pillows? It's 3 throw pillows. And really, I still don't feel like I'm up high enough, but I guess I am. But that'll be my next task, is getting a new computer chair or desk chair. I don't want one on wheels, but anyways. So if you feel generous, I would appreciate the donations. It would help me get a new chair, but obviously it's not expected. All right. Then we have Sheknia, number 39, Divine Mother. Okay, the feminine aspect of Archangel Metatron, Sheknia, refers to the energy of the divine feminine. The actual word in Hebrew means presence of God or glory of God. She is also known as the dwelling of God or the settling of God. And she represents the epitome of universal, matriarchal, unconditional love. Darling, don't you start. I don't know what's got on Gaggy today, but it's starting to gross me out. Okay, if the divine masculine is represented by expansion, the divine feminine energy is that of drawing in, coming together, and of bringing people together. If the masculine represents the one, she represents the all in one or one in all. The Great Mother Sheknia is the female aspect of the highest source of creation. She is the divine mother, the original goddess, the female representative of our creator, as shown by the wise female elder in her oracle. This energy exists within each of us, no matter whether we are a man or woman. Her general message: awaken, my daughters, now you are free. Awaken, my daughters, now you can speak. Awaken, my daughters, now you shall see. Awaken, my daughters, now you can be as mighty, as powerful, as magnificent as me. The Sheknia lives within you. Embracing this Sheknia energy allows you to come to a place of deep acceptance for wherever you are in your life, holding zero judgment and resting in the safety of 0 point neutrality. So neutral energy. I'm getting a lot of like Mother Earth energy here, especially with the quiet retreat that we have out here already. And I think her card is like the next to the last card. Yeah, she's number 39. And the one that represents Metatron is number 40. So if you look at both ends of that spectrum, she very much has a light energy. He very much has a dark energy. So balance of good and bad, positive and negative, light and dark, however you want to see that. Finding balance, not only in our own lives, but in our external world as well. I think me fussing at the dogs scared a couple people off. My bad. It is what it is. They're like kids. I can't change that. Okay. Now we'll pull from, let's see, we'll do the Animal Spirit Oracle. Yesterday, we got Dolphin and Tiger. That's where the reference of the School of Fish came out for the second time yesterday. Whale on the bottom of the deck, on the top of the deck. Wow. Those are two of the three words that came out in the video that I watched this morning that I was talking about. The other one was eagle. That would be very much a confirmation if the eagle card comes out. Eagle card was first, the tarantula was second, and then the whale was third. It was this same deck, but he was using the full size deck, not the mini deck. But it's still the same deck. Interesting. I knew we had seen the tarantula yesterday. I knew it when he said it in his video. All right. Animal Spirit Oracle. That was quick. Wolf on the bottom of the deck. Bear on the top of the deck. But we got three out here already. Octopus, fire ant, and spider. Water, fire, and earth. octopus. I'm not sure that we've ever seen that one before. Reaching, yearning, lacking, boundaries, and direction. What were we just talking about setting boundaries? Beautiful. That boundaries has come up. I think yesterday and the day before yesterday, we got boundary in one shape or another in cards. All right, the octopus signifies a wonderfully perceptive mind paired with a lack of healthy boundaries. Unfortunately, this results in well intended but messy relationships. The octopus entwines itself into other people's business and shares their own without restraint. Wow. Believe that they believe that's what it means to be close. If you notice after spending time with someone that you feel drained or uneasy, the essence of octopus is at play. Begin to establish healthy boundaries, be patient and firm. It may be a very old habit to change. What? Breaking Old Habits came out yesterday, where we've already been talking about setting boundaries, detoxing your friendships. When in balance, interested, engaged, and intelligent. When out of balance, needy, clingy, and lacks courage. To bring into balance, space to oneself, and talk therapy. Pages 98 and 99. Setting boundaries. Loving and respecting yourself enough to stick to it. Paying attention to people that do not respect your boundaries and releasing them from your life. All right, then we got fire ant, which is fire energy. Aggression, rigid thinking, and following orders. Fire ant energy flares up without us noticing. It's the force that attracts us to people and situations that feed our imbalances rather than those that counter them. Gossiping and blaming are a few indicators that misaligned fire ant energy is at play. If you may also find yourself stewing on a person or situation, only making things worse. How can you break free from the drama and cool down? Fire ants are surprisingly sensitive. Don't pretend the heat isn't getting to you. When in balance, thoughtful and disciplined. When out of balance, argues, excess heat, and gossips. To bring into balance, solo time and walks at night. Wow. Solo time, definitely. That energy has been out here for days. But going back to what it said about stewing, let me find that part real quick. You may also find yourself stewing on a person or situation, taking the time to really reflect on the effect that other people's energy has on yours. That's been a hot topic throughout all of this morning. You know, do you notice that when you spend time with somebody that you're exhausted afterwards? Do you notice that when you're around that person, all they do is gossip and talk about other people? I mean, whether that's something that you already do and you just participate in theirs, or whether that's something that you don't normally do, but you catch yourself doing it when you're around that person. That is a very big sign that that person may not be good for you. All right. And then we have spider, which is earth energy. Creator of prosperity through life's work. Visualize abundance in all forms. The spider is an ingenious creator. Its greatest gift is weaving the thread of Dharma into a vast, intricate web that supports the spider and those around it, both financially and spiritually. It is hard work, but neither tires nor becomes impatient. This card, creativity is everywhere. Be process rather than result oriented. And soon your work becomes like the weaving of a magical, priceless tapestry. Abundance follows. When in balance, appreciative, enthusiastic, and prosperous. When out of balance, discouraged, tired, and forlorn. To bring into balance, playful creativity. So don't get discouraged. If it's not happening in the way that you expected it to, or if it's not happening as fast as you wanted it to, don't let that discourage you or deter you from making the changes that you know need to be made. Don't let that discourage you from staying on, for redirecting your energy to something that's more positive and productive. Accepting that not everybody can go with you where you're going. Releasing them with love. If you've come to an impasse where you have to make that decision based off of what's best for you, not the expectations of other people. That's very important. And something else it's come up, I think, pretty much every day this week is not only the setting the boundaries, but being aware of people in your life and the way that they affect your energy, the way that they affect your life in general. Do they have a positive or a negative impact on your life, your situation, your emotions, your mental health, your physical health, your financial health? In general, do they have a positive or negative effect on your life? All right. Now we'll pull from the crystals deck, explore the universe of gems and minerals. Yesterday we got moss agate, bornite, and crazy lace agate. Which were laughter, joy, balance, hope, perspective, and renewal, and harmony, balance, and serenity. So strong balance energy within those. Let me move these so I've got room to shuffle. I can tell that I woke up really early this morning. When I woke up from that dream, I want to say it was like 2 something. And then I laid back down and I ended up sleeping till like 4:30. But I've been up ever since. So Copper, get up and get some water or something, bro. I mean, for real. I can't handle that. That grosses me out. I don't know why he just started doing it all of a sudden. But nonetheless, I'll put them outside and let them get some outside time when I'm done. They can't be outside when I'm on because they don't know. First of all, they don't know how to behave themselves. And second of all, I really need to be out there and watching them because, I do live in a community. So people bring their kids out, people bring their animals out. And just because mine are harnessed and leashed doesn't necessarily mean that everybody follows that same rule of thumb. Like my dogs don't go outside if they don't have a harness and a leash on, but not everybody follows those same rules. You know what I mean? All right. Crystals and gems. Green jade is what came out. Labradorite. I don't understand why these stones have to have such tongue twister names, but that is a really pretty stone. Spirituality, rest, and epiphany. What we got? Calcite on the bottom of the deck. Vision, passion, and positivity. And then the one that actually came out was green jade, prosperity, abundance, and nobility. Look at that. Triple confirmation on the abundance. We got the angel number abundance, number 8, prosperity, abundance, and nobility. Green jade is beautiful. Both of those stones have a lot of green in them. I don't know how well you can see it there, but and this has like almost like a blue and silver tones to it. Vision, passion, positivity, spirituality, rest, and epiphany, prosperity, abundance, and nobility. Rest and epiphany, going back to the quiet retreat and awakening potential, enlightenment. If we embrace that time to rest and to rejuvenate, a lot of times it will offer us an epiphany moment. That's happened a lot in my life. All right, now we'll pull from the herbal astrology deck. Yesterday we got sage number 6, blessing, and hibiscus number 14, joy. I've enjoyed this deck so far. I've learned quite a bit from just this one deck. All right. Herbal astrology. Please just win. They said, oh, really? You want to be a smartass about it? We'll give you 3. I'm not going to keep these, but but we'll at least acknowledge them. Wow. Cannabis, number 31, detachment. $54, ashwagandha, purpose. And 20, lavender, weaver. I guess we're keeping those. Psilocybin on the bottom of the deck. We saw that yesterday, number 49. Dragon's blood, 51 on the top of the deck. We also saw that one yesterday. That was actually on the bottom of the deck when I started shuffling today. All right, 20, 31, and 54. Whoo, okay. I'm not going to read all the messages from all of these because these cards have really long messages. The main one that I'm going to read is the 31, cannabis, detachment. That was the first one I flipped over. So that's the one that I'm actually going to read. But I will read the highlights from lavender and ashwagandha. Lavender, number 20. Weaver of potential, new beginnings, intuitive intellect, contemplative phase, emotional fulfillment, walking in alignment. Astrological ruler, Mercury. New beginnings, emotional fulfillment, contemplative phase, contemplation, reflection, that quiet retreat, taking the time to really think. All right, ashwagandha 54, purpose. My mouth is getting dry. $54. Finding divine purpose, dharma, Wow. I don't remember which card it was that we read already. I think it was one of the bird cards talked about Dharma. Finding divine purpose, Dharma, finding the future self, and receiving a divine gift. Astrological ruler, North Node, and the moon. Those are two common herbs. Most people have heard of lavender. Ashwagandha isn't as well known, but I actually put ashwagandha powder in my smoothies. So if you don't know much about it, back in the day when Dr. Oz was a big thing, he really promoted the ashwagandha powder. All right, and then 31, cannabis. Detachment. Let me go this way. Okay. Detachment, deep contemplation, freedom from pain, body, inner calm, and immunity. Astrological ruler, Saturn and Neptune. Cannabis is one of the oldest known psychotropic herbs. The first recorded use of cannabis is from 8000 BC in an ancient village in Taiwan, where indigenous groups used hemp fibers in their fabrics, pottery, rope, and even their shoes, not relying on animal skins or even silk for clothing. In 4000 BC, in a Chinese village of Panpo, hemp was considered to be one of the 5 grains of China, and thus a major food crop. In the Chinese Medica from 2737 BC, hemp was recognized for its ability to treat over 100 medical issues, including gout, malaria, and rheumatism. The medicinal use of marijuana features heavily in Hindu religious texts. In the Vedas, for example, written between 2000 BC and 1400 BC, cannabis was considered a sacrament of Shiva, described as a source of happiness, a joy giver, and a bringer of freedom. That was compassionately given to humans by the gods to relieve them of anxiety and help them achieve delight as well as fearlessness. Cannabis's many uses fall mostly under Saturn's and Neptune's rulership with a strong Piscean undertone. Since it is a musculoskeletal relaxant, anti-inflammatory, and pain reliever, it is a great ally for those seeking to soften the rough edges of Saturn's impact. Its mood-enhancing, anti-anxiety, anti-inflammatory, and psychotropic properties belong to the realms of Neptune and therefore Pisces. Guidance. Saturn is said to be the lord of time and space, the lord of karma, although often called the Great Maleficent. Saturn is much more than what we experience in third dimensional reality. The space-time continuum is a system that encompasses third dimensional reality as we know it, said to be ruled by Saturn. Yet the transcendence of this reality is freedom from Saturn, depicted by its polarity, Neptune. When the angels of time and space are respected, Saturn, they bless us with freedom and the ability to transcend, Neptune. The cycles of the pain body. If you feel restless, anxious, trapped in your own body, or have trouble sleeping, Cannabis is here to remind you to cultivate inner calm. Breathe deeply, go for a walk in nature, immerse yourself in meditation, take naps, and creatively cultivate practices that soften the unsettled aspects of your being. Don't succumb to quick fix solutions when it comes to decompressing, as it often leads to self neglect and disassociation. Tune deeply into the energies of this ancient ally and learn to transcend the cycles of self induced pain. There was actually some things in there that I didn't know, but I can confirm a lot of what that said because I used to indulge in cannabis for more than just medicinal purposes. All right. Last but not least, Mary Magdalene Oracle. Yesterday, we got Judgment and the Legacy. The whole point is to be human. Love is always legendary. All right. I hope everybody has a positive, productive day today. I hope you have a peaceful day. I've really enjoyed experimenting with the laptop and learning that I do want to keep being able to do it this way. So, I will be getting some internet service soon. I can't necessarily say how soon, but it will happen. All right. Mary, full of grace, what advice can you give us today? Please just give us one. The Rose. Wow. Remember the video that I was talking about that I watched this morning? It wasn't the same deck, but he had a deck come out that was, or a card that came out that was the Rose. Everything comes from within. I trust in divine timing. Wow. I'm going to have to go back and see. Hold on. I don't even have to go back. Let's see who that guy was. I don't think I had ever watched him before, but I don't remember if it was from this account or from my other account. Yes. Divine Phoenix Rising.
Taurus.
The video that I watched was posted 2 days ago. Phoenix tears for Taurus. Choose wisely to break through this breakdown. Yeah, he got quite emotional in that video, which I have a tendency to do that here as well. No judgment. I don't judge people for showing their authentic emotions. All right, the Rose, 64, which breaks down to a 10, which is completion energy. All right. I trust divine timing. So much of our lives, for so many of us, is focused on what's happening outside of us, on what we do or produce. And what we produce or earn or accumulate is then linked to a sense of self-worth, a sense of purpose, and even a sense of status or importance in the world. What we have forgotten is the majesty of what cannot be seen or quantified. We have forgotten about cultivating a capacity to love and to be loved. We have forgotten that tending to the essence of who we are is our most important occupation. We have forgotten that the most powerful contribution we can offer is not actually something we can point to outside of us, sell, market, or frame, and put up on the wall for praise. The most powerful contribution we have to offer the world is the love we become. Many of us have a very clear idea of what external accomplishments we want to achieve by a certain point in life. And if we don't live up to those expectations, we judge that we have failed. But we cannot force or contrive the cultivation, the embodiment, and the rise of the soul. This form of soul work happens in kairos, which is the Greek word for the soul's timing, divine timing. Linear time is incredibly useful for an ego to function, which is essential. But linear time has nothing to do with the essence of who we are or what offering we can make of our lives. The rose, a symbol of the divine feminine, represents an inner surrender that cannot be timed according to the ego or any external circumstances. The rose is about remembering that we cannot force ourselves to ripen. We cannot will ourselves to be anyone else other than exactly who we are in this moment. If we accept the beauty of where we are right now, we allow the ego to loosen its grasp of linear time. If we remember that an entire universe is perpetually in the process of bloom from within the heart, we can be curious about what might be unfolding for us. We can trust our own divine timing. The soul voice meditation, what can I trust is unfolding in its own divine timing. We did get divine timing the other day, embracing the process, not trying to rush it, but also going all the way back to our grief affirmation. I do not need to be any certain way for people to love and support me. And that also includes loving and supporting ourselves. And of course, not seeking that love and validation from outside sources, but knowing that it's always within us. All right. We've gone super long today, 3:01:41 on the timer as I'm looking. It is 11:31 real time. As always, be grateful for what you have, the big, the small, and the blessings yet to come. And if you see a need out there today, tomorrow, next week, if there's any possible way that you can fill that need, please do so. You may not only better their day, but you could possibly change their life, and you never know the impact it could have on yours. Stay sweet, find peace, and I'll see you next time.